those are just a few little things I like to check out. The one last thing I like to do is lateral flexion. And I just like to make sure that I can get some bend. And see how she's kind of resisting the bit. She's kind of chomping. She's still pulling, just looking out over there. There, release. So I'm rating that. How does that feel? Is that something where I can work through it riding, or am I not going to be able to turn her when I'm on her? That was much better. And with this, you always want to make sure you keep your toes out of the way, pulling towards the fender of your saddle. And see how her foot comes around right to where my foot is? That's why I want to keep my hips with her hips so I don't get stepped on. And I want to release when she stops. So I'll ask again, slide my hand down the rein, close one finger at a time, much better. I'm just gauging, you know, is my horse going to be able to turn both directions when I get on her? Is she soft? Is she not soft? Is she worried about it? My horse is worried about this kind of thing. I won't get on him. I want to make sure I can do this. To me, she's just, you know, hasn't done a lot of this, and she's a little bracy. She doesn't know the appropriate response. She's kind of leaning on it. If my horse goes to pull in the opposite direction or leans on this too long, I can come around here and tap on the hindquarters and then release. Because I don't want to encourage her pulling against me. So that was softer. Now I just need to release on the stop because that's what I want. Now I'm holding on to the saddle, keeping my hips with her hips. Helps me keep my balance. So she's pulling, right? She stopped, but she's pulling, so I don't want to release on that. Always want to release on softness and the mindset that I want. So she's pulling again. Gonna tap on those hindquarters. Sorry, sweetie. There we go. That was much softer. She just moved after I released, which was not ideal, but it happens. Well, there's just some resistance there. So that tells me when I get on and ride her, I'm probably gonna have to do a lot of hindquarter yields. She's gonna be a little bit tough to turn, but I got my backup tuned up so I can at least stop her, right? So I wanna tune up her steering now. Just gonna wait. She's pulling pretty hard. So I'm gonna drive that hindquarters around. And I'm trying to keep my hand in the same spot so it releases when she comes off that pressure. I'm not pulling her head around. I'm just holding and she releases on it when she turns her head. So my hand stays in the same spot. I could micromanage her head around if I wanted to, but it's not going to make her any softer or any better. So she's still pulling. Move her hindquarters a little bit there. There, she finally got soft. I'll try to turn her so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Close one finger at a time. See how she started to bring her head around and then stopped. So that's her little threshold there. It's where she's not wanting to come any further. So I try to plant my elbow, on my ribs if I can't get all the way back to the saddle, and that'll help my hands stay nice and solid so I'm not pulling her. So she was coming around a lot softer there, and that's why I released. Her feet were moving, so. But I liked how soft she came around there. And the hardest part about this is just not getting stepped on. So, and she stopped, but she's still pulling away, and you can see her mouth is a little bit parrot-mouthed. That means it's really hard for her to do this. It's taken a lot of emotional energy for her to bend around like this. And you'll find that with a lot of horses. If you get a ranch horse or a gaited horse, oh, that was nice. A lot of the people that start them focus on straightness and don't ever bend them. So you'll find a lot of older horses that don't know how to do this. So it's not uncommon. It's just a hole we need to address before we get on. There, very nice. And the reason this is so important is I'm going to use it to get on in a minute. I want to be able to bend her head around, put my foot in the stirrup, and jump on up there. And that's the other thing I should be able to do. I should be able to jump up and down here and my horse not care. Because that's what I'm going to do in a minute when I put my foot in that stirrup. So close one finger at a time. Very intentional with that. I give her every chance in the world. Ideally, once you've gotten a horse really good with this, one finger, they should be able to come around either side. I'm trying to keep my elbow in the same place. She got a little mini release there because she did turn her head a little bit. So that is not what I want to feel when I get on her. So I'm already practicing what I'm going to do on her back. If she doesn't turn, when I just open up a rein, I'm going to use the hindquarters to turn. That's why that's so important. I do that do all this on all my colts. They know all their leg cues before I ever get on them. Doesn't mean I use them on the first ride, but they know them and they're there if I need them. We'll try this again. So there's a lot of resistance there. She's like really pulling against me. Nope. That was it. We'll let her think about that for a minute. So that was much better. I'll take that. So I'm going to end on that for this video, and in the next video I'll show you how first ride might go and the things I want to check out on a new horse. Thanks so much.